Today in News Tech, an update on the fight for public notices. The ongoing story, this is watchdog journalism, Teri reporting in, our investigative journalist, looking into the public notice, the war on public notices,
right.
Which newspapers have relied on as a revenue source for years. Right, Teri?
Exactly. For centuries, actually. This is from a link that was sent to us by one of our publishers who's in the Michigan Press Association, just detailing the importance of public notices in a print edition as opposed to being relegated to government websites only. And I thought this was interesting because it says public notices provide this sort of transparency and accessibility to citizens who want to know more about government actions. Providing public notice provides the opportunity for the public to influence governing bodies and allows the public to be an active participant in a democratic society.
Yes, it's the separation of powers that we have learned about ever since grade school. And to have a government reporting on itself just doesn't make any sense. You really need to have a separate entity.
The government is accountable to the people that it represents. And then we also got a blurb from the Florida Press Association. Their legal notice bill is just wildfiring through. It's already on the governor's desk. This is just a quick overview of the travel it's made so far, and it's really been pretty quick.
I got a newsletter about this from Florida Press because we're now sponsors and members.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like about to pass.
Right. It's right there. And
the governor is going to sign it. Basically.
Yeah. And it's the thing about these public notice bills is there's not really, unlike the rest of politics these days, there's no partisan line. I mean, it's bipartisan.
Yeah. I guess you got people that are trying to defend these revenue sources.
And that's what it comes down to. Like you mentioned last week, the revenue source, I don't think that's a valuable argument. I will never believe that's a valuable argument. It's taxpayers' money, and it comes down to accountability and accessibility. You still have to pay for a public notice to appear on a website unless it's your government website, and it's kind of included in that package, which removes that element of accountability.
Yes, technically they could post it on the government site, but...
And I don't want it to sound like, the government has taken over, because it's not. There are rules and regulations in place.
No, these are the things that creep up on people. You don't even think about it. And, I never really thought about things that have been uncovered in long-term research studies that show that there's just more fraud. There's literally more fraud that goes up when newspapers go out of business from private and government entities that are run amok. And, then the news is coming from the local businesses' press releases and the government's official website. That doesn't seem right. I mean, solutions journalism, though, we always talk about it, right? Can you give us some hope here, or do you want to continue to tell us more about these details?
Well, I just want to take a step back. It's not like the government is taking over, because there are regulations in place that say the area has to have so much accessibility. Okay, there are requirements. So if your area doesn't have enough accessibility, then print is the mode that will be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
As in, like, not high-speed internet everywhere?
Right. And the same goes for print. I mean, you have to have so many subscribers in order to become a newspaper of record.
Right.
This is an interactive map that shows the number of bills relating to public notices that are going on. They're ongoing in each state. Texas has 21. There's your state, bill number, description, progress, that sort of thing. That's really cool. I mean, if you can just go to your state. Kentucky has 0.
You're saying Kentucky has no plans to change?
I'm not sure what the status of their public notices is right now, but there's no legislation.
I see. So we're like red alert with Texas. There's a lot of different proposals out there. New York.
Right.
That is interesting. Yeah, to see the spread there.
Yeah.
The thing I keep thinking about is if this is becoming something that's just out there and everyone has to compete over, because in the past we've had basically a monopoly on this. You have to come to the newspaper. If it goes back to competing, publishers can still compete on this. Like, you can make a better website and a better directory for these things.
I'm not sure at this point where they need to compete. I think they need to up their game as far as just getting one step ahead and making public notices available on their website, making them archived on their website and searchable so that they become that source. And once they are that source, it's going to be harder to take that away.
Exactly. Right. The playing field's being leveled in a way, so we need to hold on. It
requires a little bit of strategy.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we could focus this next week on the directory system. Public notices, most of our customers are putting these up. We extract them probably for most of our customers. Is that right, Teri?
I'd say it's probably 50-50, half and half. Some want them extracted. Some publishers put them up themselves. Some relies solely on their state website.
They also sometimes have us send them to the state website. Yeah, there's a lot of different press associations doing great things. They have nice websites that are a place that you can go and look at the whole state, just like a centralized source.
This tab right here lists all the requirements for each state. This I thought was really kind of cool. I might have shared this last week. This is a little 2-page PDF that you can print out or include anywhere, but it gives you just a nice, easy, digestible argument for why public notices should remain in newspapers. 2 things that our publishers can do. You can sign up for the Public Notice Resource Center newsletter, full of obviously what we've seen here, lots of information. And then also, America's Newspapers has a mega conference coming up. One of their featured panels is going to be on protecting public notices. That's coming up April 10th through 12th.
Yeah, they're going back in person this year. So let's definitely give them a shout out on social media. That's a great one.
Yeah, it goes into as well as every actions every publisher should be taking.
Excellent. Okay, very cool. Today in News Tech, the podcast covering innovation in digital journalism. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter and subscribe on YouTube or any of your favorite podcast apps. We'll see you tomorrow.
At our hometown, we help newspapers build WordPress websites, design native apps, and develop digital subscription models. If you are interested in a free prototype of your publication on WordPress, go to ourhometown.com and click the Contact Us button.